my life. I crown thee now. Thine shall the glory be. Lest I forget thy thorn crowned brow. Lead me, Jesus, to Calvary. Lest I forget how you prayed on Gethsemane in the garden. And lest I forget how you suffered your agony on Calvary.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is an excellent day to serve an excellent God in and with the spirit of excellence. Good morning. This is Chaplain Sherry, Coach Sherry, your community pastor Sherry. This is Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue on this 9th day of Lent. Good morning. Good morning, Joyce. I am so glad to see you this morning. Can I share with you something this morning? That my testimony is that millions didn't make it, but I am one of the ones who did. And the day that I had on yesterday, at some point, I really thought that I was going to be among the millions. It was a wild day. But my testimony is I celebrate the fact that what tried to kill me yesterday, and I'm not necessarily talking about a physical death, but mentally, emotionally, my being, my soul yesterday was tired. And I understand the work that I do, and I love the work that I do. But dealing with death and dying, some days are worse than others. And yesterday was one of those days. And so I just thank God for friends that check on me, or I can call to say, listen, this day is not a good day for me. The day started out really before I even got on the parking lot. It started out with receiving a text that there was a death, and that the wife was asking for the chaplain. And good morning, Marquita. Good morning. Good morning, Felicia. So glad to see you today. Before I got in the parking lot, I was receiving these texts that the wife, her husband had just died, and she was requesting to see the chaplain. So you never know what that's going to look like. And I got to my office, which was like a mile away from where the death was. So I had to get settled in my office, then make the trek over there to the grieving wife. And that was tense, right? That was tense. So I go back to my office to get settled, and then have to make the trek back, because every death there is what we call an honor walk, right? An honor walk. And perhaps you've seen that, where employees or whoever is in that path will go to the side, or line up against the wall. And being that this is a military situation, people would put their hands on their hearts and also that there's taps played, and then in some spaces the chaplain has to walk with the body to either the morgue or the funeral home hearse, right? And if I don't know if you've ever seen that or you've ever been involved in that, but it is something tense, right? It is something that gets to the core. And then to have the wife see that final march, that final thing. Yesterday it was wild. And then I also prayed with a widow who lost her husband, right? She's still grieving. And I'm not going to say still grieving, but she is grieving the death of her husband. So I talked to them. I prayed with them. And so when you add all of those things up, right? It was a bit much. It was a bit much. So thank God that I have friends. Good morning, Gainer. Good morning, Pastor. So glad to see you in this space on this 9th day of Lent. So why am I telling you all of this? Because when I am sad, when my soul is weary, I want to talk about that as much as I talk about, all the jubilance and the joy and things of that nature, because I think it fits real well in this season of Lent as Jesus is headed to the cross. This is not a cakewalk, right? This is not a time of jubilation. It is filled with grief, disappointment, abandonment, rejection, conflict. It is filled with all of those things. And to pass by that, and to get to Calvary, to get to Resurrection Sunday, without dealing with Gethsemane, without dealing with the cross, without dealing with the grief and rejection and the abandonment and conflict and all of those things, I really believe cheapens Resurrection Sunday. Now that's just me. But I needed to tell you that I needed to come to my family to talk to you this morning about what I experienced yesterday. But let me tell you about the people who came to my rescue. And one of my good friends, my sister, say, Sherry, how can I serve and support you at this time when you have days like this? Let me talk about it. Be a presence. Let me talk about it. Because if I don't talk about it, I'll carry it into the next day. And the next day will have its own set of problems. And if we don't talk about what is happening to us today, when tomorrow comes and it builds on itself, eventually it will explode. So, needless to say, I went to bed extremely early yesterday, and the world is all right today. It is all right today. So listen, today on this 9th day of Lent, that was the sermon before the sermon, because I'm a Baptist preacher. What we are talking about today on this 4th day of Lent. Oh, Lord Jesus, on this 9th day of Lent. We're on the 9th day of Lent, y'all. I got stuff all over the place, so I have to, I'm not, even though I went to sleep early, I am still kind of discombobulated, because you do know that you can sleep too early. Give me a minute, because I got to bend down. What I'm looking for is on the floor. It's on the floor. So thank you. So on this 9th day of Lent, we are talking about fasting from other people's opinion. Today we are fasting from caring about what other people think, say, or do about us. Now, that's not in Alicia Britt Cole's book. Some days I deviate from that. On this 9th day of Lent, we are fasting from caring about other people's opinion of us. Have you ever said or heard, if I were you, I would do A, B, and C? If I were you, I wouldn't do A, B, and C. Have you ever heard that? Or have you ever said that? When we allow other people's opinions to dictate our being, what we really do, I like to say, is slap God in the face. When we try to alter our very presence, our very being, to fit into someone else's narrative, we really say that the Creator made a mistake with the creation. Listen, if I have heard it one time, I've heard it a million times. Sherry, if you would just not be so loud. Sherry, if you would just grow your hair. Sherry, if you would just do this, then, and the big one is, Sherry, men really like women with hair. So if you would just grow your hair, then you would get a boyfriend, or you may be married. Well, let me tell you about that. If that is the case, they would not be getting the authentic me. Because eventually, the wig will come off, the weave will come out, and I will get back to the real me. And so when we try to do that, we suffocate ourselves. When we allow other people's opinions to dictate our movement. Psalm 139, David talks about being fearfully and wonderfully made. That the you that God made is good enough. I really like Psalm 139, and I think that's around the, I can't remember the verses. Somebody find the exact verses where David talks about in Psalm 139, marvelous are your works. Marvelous are your works, O God. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And David talks about the intricate detail that God took to create us. That God took the time to fashion who we are. Good morning, Pastor Bianca. Today is so much a better day. God took the time to hand stitch you. Listen. If you have ever crochet, and I crochet, right? What I know is that you touch every piece of yarn. If you crochet, I don't care what stitches you make, I don't care what needle you use, that you touch every fabric and you hand stitch, you intricately hand stitch every piece. That's how God did with us. God intricately hand stitched each part of us. God understood that. Thank you, Felicia. Thank you. Psalm 139:14. God y'all might not be ready, Pastor B, because this is early talk this morning, and I don't know how many grown folk I have, but because it is who God has created me, I'm gonna just say this, that God took the time. If you got wide hips, God took the time to intricately stitch and fashion the wide hips. If God has given you a small waist or large waist, if God has given you large breasts or small breasts, if God has given you bow legs or whatever that is, if God has given you an extrovert personality or introvert personality, God has carefully hand stitched all of that. And when we try to do things to alter that based upon other people's opinion, ooh, good God Almighty. I'm gonna let y'all handle that, let that settle in for a few minutes, because I don't know how many grown folk I have on here this morning. I don't know if you're ready. But what I'm simply trying to say on this 9th day of Lent, that we are fasting from other people's opinion of us. My soul may be weary from work, but it will never be weary, because I am trying to undo the work that God has done in me, over me, and on me and through me, because another person can't handle it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have other people told you, or have you said it yourself? And when we try to tell people who they should be and who they shouldn't be, because they don't fit their narrative. And what I understand, Pastor Gaynor, is that when people can't rise to your level, what they'll do is try to bring you down to their level. They'll try to bring you down because they can't fathom you being who you are. And so today, on this 9th day of Lent, we are vowing to decrease in caring about what other people say about us or have an opinion of us, and we are increasing in living in our authentic selves, living in the being who God has created us. Because Genesis tells us that when God created us, first of all, we are created in God's image. So when you tell me I'm not good enough or I should make A, B, and C changes, we're really saying that God is not good enough. Jesus was very clear on who he is and the work he has come to do. He understood the mission in Luke 4:18 that he have come to free some people. And all through his life, his ministry evolved around freeing people, giving sight to the blind, making the lame walk. Freeing the prisoner. When we try to alter people, we're really going against the principles of Jesus, who comes for liberation. That's what got him to the cross. That's what got him to be to the execution chair, because he come to turn the systems upside down. He came to free some people. He came to overthrow systems. Good morning, Natasha. So glad to see you this morning. On this 9th day of Lent, of this 40-day journey, Natasha, we are talking about fasting from caring about other people's opinions of us. My prayer for us today is that we live into our authentic selves, that we follow the principles of Jesus, of knowing who we are, whose we are, why we are, and how we are. And please understand, it's going to cost. It's going to cost you some people, places, and things. But oh, the joy of knowing who you are and being who you are. Now, let me just say this, because I know church folk may say, listen, well, if you are so secure in who you are, why are you applying that makeup? Why are you trying to, why we have, all of these things that, that seem to change who you are? Because the truth of the matter is, Sherry, your real self have these splotches and things in your face, these dark spots in your face. So if you're living in your authentic self, Sherry, why don't you just go on out like that? Well, here is the thing, because I have choice. I made the decisions to do this, not you. This is what I want to do. Because let me tell you, I will rock a natural face all day long. This is my choice, not yours. You see, there is a difference when there is something that I want to accentuate, pull out, or make better, but not because you wouldn't be able to handle my natural face. Ooh, I know this is a whole lot this morning. Some people may say, Sherry, you ain't even in the Bible. Yes, I am. Psalm 139:14, David tells us, marvelous are your works, O God. because you have taken the time to hand stitch me. Each one of you are uniquely made, and you are made in the image of God. Listen, on this 9th day of Lent, fast from caring about what other people say. And then fast from not liking who you are. Listen, I've been there. I've tried to bring myself down to fit into other people's opinion of me. Because I thought that if I, see how, I got to do better, and I should be applying this makeup while talking to y'all, but this is how important this is for me to say that when I did that, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe when I tried to suppress my being because of other people's opinions, or try to fit into certain circles. It does not work. It did not work. Here's what I know, and Dr. Irie Lynn Sessions helped me with this. The circles are the people that you try to alter yourself for, or cannot handle your authentic self. That's not your people. That's not your people. That's not your tribe. I often say that the people who loved me when I was not preaching, when I was persecuting preaching women, left me when I started preaching, when I started living into what God had called me to. Then those people no longer saw value in me. And let me tell you, some of my closest friends, that the relationship severed, and I grieved. Because we had some times, we had done some things. We had gone some places. I grieved, and some of them I still feel a certain way about. But let me tell you, when I began to walk in my authentic self, God brought me people, places, and things that accept me for the bald-headed, big-hipped, loud preaching woman in the name of Sherry L. Brown Jackson from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue. Y'all not ready? Y'all not ready? I think I feel good this morning. After the hell of a day yesterday, I feel good today. I feel good. Listen, let me get out of here so I can put this makeup on and accentuate these eyes. On this 9th day of Lent, we are fasting from caring about other people's opinion. Y'all be blessed and may all be well.